Good evening, and pull your chair a little closer to the coals, because tonight's Campfire Stories is a warm one before it turns cold. This one is fiction, mostly. It's about a family who camped the same granite clearing up past Mallorytown every single summer, 30 years running, on a bald shelf of rock above the cedar swamp, where the St. Lawrence goes quiet.
30 years on the same rock? That's not a family. That's a rut with marshmallows.
Say what you like, but there's a comfort in a place that knows you. Same fire ring, same flat stone for the coffee pot, same three pines leaning like they're listening. And on the last night of that 30th summer, the father, a fellow named Ray, was feeding the fire around 11 at night when the flames started to talk.
Fires crackle, Marty. That's wet cedar, not conversation.
No, Carol, not crackle. Voices. Clear as you and me. Out of the flames came his own father's voice, a man 20 years in the ground, saying, "Slow down on that hill, Raymond. You'll cook the brakes, word for word," a thing his dad had said on that very rock when Ray was a boy.
So the man dozed off and dreamed his father. Happens to me every Sunday around 2 in the afternoon.
He thought the same. Rubbed his eyes, poured out the coffee. But his wife, Ellen, she heard it too, and she went white, because the next voice was hers, 20 years younger, laughing, and a young man saying, "Marry me, Elle, right here before the fire goes out," their engagement. On this rock. Replayed out of the coals, ember for ember.
All right. That one I'll give you a shiver for. Go on.
All night the fire remembered. It gave back a child's laugh, their daughter at 4 years old, shrieking at a spark. It gave back a grandfather telling a fish story that got bigger every summer. Every good evening they'd ever spent on that granite, the fire had been keeping, and now it was handing it all back like a shoebox of old photographs.
You know, that's almost sweet. A fire that hoards the happy nights. I could sit through that.
So could they. They woke the kids, wrapped in blankets, and they sat and listened to their own family's history crackle up into the dark, half of them crying, half of them grinning. It was the finest night of the whole 30 years. And then, near 1:13 in the morning, the fire went still. And it spoke a voice none of them had heard yet.
What do you mean, hadn't heard yet?
I mean, the fire stopped remembering, Carol, and started telling. Out of the coals came Ellen's voice, older, cracked with grief, a voice from some summer still to come, saying, "He was right here by the fire, and then the rock was empty. We never even heard him get up."
Okay. That is not sweet anymore. Turn that off.
They couldn't. The fire kept on into the tomorrow that hadn't arrived. Ray's own voice answered his wife, thin and far away, like a man calling from the bottom of the cedar swamp, saying, "Don't look for me down by the water, Elle. Whatever's calling, don't any of you follow it down." And every soul around that ring understood the fire was telling them which one of them would be gone before sunrise.
And nobody's going to say the name. I already hate this. Whose voice was missing from the memories, Marty?
That's the thing that put the frost in their bones. All night, the fire had given back every voice on that rock, 30 years of them, the grandfather, the child, the proposal. Every voice but one. It had never once, in all that remembering, given back Ray's.
Because you don't get to remember a night you were on the rock, if you were the one who never came back from it.
And just before the coals died to gray, the last words the fire spoke were the ones from the summer to come, Ellen naming it soft into the dark. "It took him at the water, and it left us the fire so we'd know. They packed at dawn." They never camped that granite again. But every family that's pitched a tent there since says the same strange thing. The fire up there won't tell you your past. It only ever wants to tell you your tomorrow.
So the moral is camp somewhere with a nice quiet propane stove that keeps its opinions to itself.
The moral, Carol, is that some places love you enough to warn you, and some places just love the warning. Good night, and mind the water.
Good night. And if the campfire starts doing impressions, folks, that's your cue to sleep in the car.